Have you ever wondered why everything inside you seems to be crying out, and yet everything around you remains silent? You pray, you wait, you scream in your thoughts, but the answer doesn't come. And it's in that place, where no one listens, where no one understands, where no one sees, that true transformation begins. The Holy Spirit doesn't work on stages. He works in the depths. In the places eyes can't see, in the places no one else has access to, in the places you try to hide even from yourself. You don't need to understand what's happening, but you do need to stop resisting. Because as long as you're trying to stay in control, as long as you're trying to hold it all together, as long as you're trying to look strong, the Spirit won't move. He didn't come to fix what you built with your own hands. He came to tear down what you thought was enough, and that hurts. It hurts because you were taught to survive, to keep smiling. But the presence of the Spirit doesn't tolerate masks. It only recognizes surrender. You think what you're feeling right now is weakness, but it's only the beginning. It's just the start of necessary ruin, the tearing down of your will, the breaking of your pride. And deep down, maybe you already know. Maybe you've always known that something in you needs to die. Not a behavior, not a habit, but that old self, the one that does everything without God, the one that got used to living without the Spirit. You can try to distract yourself. You can even keep yourself busy with good things. But there is no substitute for the real presence of the Holy Spirit. Nothing, absolutely nothing, satisfies. That quick joy, that temporary win, it all fades with time. But when the Spirit touches you, you're never the same again. It's not emotionalism. It's not manipulation. It's a fire that starts inside you and begins to consume everything. Are you feeling like you're losing control? That's because the Spirit is taking ground. Are you struggling to keep up appearances? That's because He's breaking through your facades. Do you feel a deep emptiness? That's because you were made for a presence that fills everything. And maybe that's why you're here. Because somewhere deep inside, you know you need something real, not religion, not a theological explanation, but the living presence of the Holy Spirit. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to explain it. Just recognize something is happening inside you, and that something has a name: Holy Spirit. He didn't come to improve you. He came to transform you. But transformation requires loss. It requires surrender. It requires that you let go of who you've always tried to protect. Have you noticed how hard it is to let go of control? How painful it is to admit you don't know what you're doing? But that's exactly where He steps in. When you finally go quiet, when you don't have the strength to fight anymore, when all you can do is cry in silence, the Spirit understands tears. He translates groans. He moves in the silence, and suddenly you begin to notice what once hurt is now being healed. What once weighed you down is being lifted. What once seemed impossible is now starting to happen. But not because you did something, because you stopped resisting. You don't need to deserve it. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to make room. Room where pride once lived. Room where guilt once ruled. Room where fear once stayed. Because where there is surrender, the Spirit moves. And when He moves, nothing stays the same. You can try to rebuild your life with your own hands. You can even try to move on in your own way. But once the Spirit comes in, nothing tastes the same. Not the victories, not the relationships, not the plans. Everything starts to take on new meaning. Everything starts to align with a greater will, God's will. Feeling confused? That's the Spirit undoing your inner order. To rebuild with purpose. Feeling anxious? That's the Spirit clearing space where clutter once lived. Feeling afraid? That's your old self dying and your new self being born right now. This is deep spiritual transformation. You won't understand everything, but you'll know something has changed. Because where there was once death, now there's life. Where there was once coldness, now there's fire. Where there was once discouragement, now there's a cry. And that cry doesn't come from outside. It comes from the Spirit, groaning within you, asking for space, asking for freedom, asking for surrender. And you know what He wants. He wants everything, not part, not just Sundays, not just when you need help. Everything. And if you give it, if you allow it, if you stop resisting, It will happen. The impossible, the supernatural, the rebirth. You will be transformed. Not by the strength of your will, but by the power of the Holy Spirit. He still transforms, still heals, still invades hearts that surrender, and He is here, now, waiting for you. Do you want Him? Write in the comments, God, my heart is yours. If you want to fully surrender your life to Him, but you're scared to let go, scared to lose what you think you still control, scared of what might happen if you let the Spirit make all things new. That fear is just resistance trying to survive, because something inside you still believes it's possible to live like this, half surrendered, half strong, half alive. But there is no transformation in halves. The Spirit doesn't come to renovate. He comes to rebuild. And rebuilding starts with demolition, with loss, with tears no one sees, with nights when you feel nothing, but choose to stay in the room, to stay in the silence, to stay even without feeling, because there, in the silence that tears you open, the Spirit whispers, and when He whispers, everything changes, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. Suddenly, you realize that anxiety no longer controls you. That old pain has started to lose its grip. That emptiness doesn't consume you like before. You realize you're being transformed, not by effort, but by presence. The Spirit dwells where He's welcomed. And when you stop pretending, when you stop trying to impress, when you come as you are, with all your weakness, He enters, not with noise, not with a show, but with a peace that shakes you. You can't explain it, but you know it's real, and that's everything. Because once you've encountered His presence, you'll never settle for substitutes again. You might try to go back, you might try to fit in again, but something inside you screams, I can't, I need Him. And that silent cry, that hidden longing, is what the Spirit hears. He comes to the brokenhearted. He moves where there is truth. And the truth is, you don't know how to live without Him anymore. You might keep going, but you don't want to keep going alone. You might try to ignore it, but He already touched the place no one else could reach. He touched that memory, that hidden guilt, that quiet prayer you whispered when no one was watching, and He answered, not with words, but with presence. And now, you understand. It's not about a new season. It's not about taking a break. It's about being born again. Not in the body, but in the Spirit, a new awareness, a new desire, a new way of living, no longer driven by fear, but by faith, no longer shaped by wounds, but healed from within, no longer led by opinions, but guided by the Spirit. This is deep spiritual transformation, and it requires everything. It requires you to let go of shortcuts. It requires you to stop defending yourself. It requires you to stop running. You've been running for too long. You've masked it with religion. You've hidden behind promises you never kept. But now, the Spirit is calling you back, not to accuse you, but to heal you, not to demand, but to fill you with presence, to fill you with truth, to fill you with life. And all He wants is you, whole, broken, maybe, but fully surrendered. You think you have no strength left? That's exactly where He works. The Holy Spirit doesn't need your strength. He needs your surrender. And when you finally let go, when you finally stop trying to figure it all out, when you simply say, yes, heaven moves, there's no closed heaven for the surrendered heart. There's no silence that can withstand the one who stays. There's no chain that can stand in the presence of the real, because when the Spirit enters, everything changes. Even what seemed final, even what looked dead. Even what you thought you had buried, the Spirit breathes, and where there was dust, life begins. Where there was dryness, hope springs up. Where there was pain, healing is born. Not a surface-level emotional healing, but a healing that pierces the soul and realigns the spirit. And that kind of healing is irreversible, because once you've touched the glory, you can't go back to pretending. You know it. Something in you has already been touched. You're not just reading words. You're feeling the weight, the gentle weight of His presence. This is the moment to stop negotiating, to stop resisting, to stop justifying the old version of yourself. Because the new is coming, not based on what you can do, but on what the Spirit has already begun. Transformation doesn't depend on you knowing the next step. It depends on you not giving up in the middle of the night. It depends on you staying, even when you don't feel it, even when you don't see it, even when everything in you wants to turn back. Stay. That's the answer. Stay where the Spirit is, and He is here, in the silence, in the emptiness, in the longing for something you've never lived, but that has always called you. You were made for the presence, and it's calling you back. So, do you want it? Because everything can change right now. Write in the comments, God is my sustainer. If you know that in Him you find everything you need. So why are you still hesitating? Why do you cling to that last thread of your old life as if it were safety? Why are you still trying to stay in control when the Spirit is calling you to let go completely? You were called for more than just survival, more than rituals, more than repeating words that no longer reach the floor of your heart. There is something deeper, something more real, something that cannot be manufactured by human will, something that only happens when the Spirit has total freedom. You think you're waiting on God, but He's the one waiting on you, waiting for you to empty yourself, waiting for you to stop fighting what you already know must happen, waiting for you to grow tired of resisting. Because as long as you're trying to keep everything standing, He can't rebuild anything. And the Spirit does not enter where there is no room. He does not move where there is resistance. He does not transform where there's still fear of being exposed. But what if you let it fall? What if you stopped hiding? What if you said, Holy Spirit, do whatever you want. Take whatever you need. Break whatever you must. Just don't leave me the same. You don't have to know what comes next. You just need to trust that where the Spirit dwells, there is no death that can remain. No darkness that can stand, no emptiness that stays. His presence doesn't come just to comfort, it comes to rebuild. But first, it tears down. It tears down pride. It tears down self-sufficiency. It tears down the walls you built so you wouldn't be hurt again. And that process may feel like loss, but it's actually deliverance. Because the Spirit knows the dark rooms of your soul where you don't let anyone in. He knows the voices that surround you at night. He knows the silences you try to ignore, and still, He doesn't give up. Still, He keeps pursuing you. You feel it. You know this isn't just emotion. It's not just a beautiful atmosphere. It's something greater, heavier, holier. It's the Spirit calling you back to the center of God's will, calling you into the room where masks don't fit, where there's only space for two, you and Him. You tried to walk alone. You tried to adapt. You tried to be strong. But it's not about strength, it's about surrender. The Spirit is not looking for those who think they're ready. He's looking for those who know they are nothing without Him. Are you willing to live without His presence? Are you willing to keep going with only memories of a time you once felt more? Or will you say now, I want more, I need more. Holy Spirit, I don't want to go on without you. He hears, even the whisper, even the tired breath, even when you can't put it into words. He hears what your heart screams in silence, and He comes. He comes like wind that tears down what you built on sand. He comes like fire that burns the old you. He comes like healing that doesn't need explanation. Deep spiritual transformation is not an event. It's a process, a daily surrender, a constant decision not to return to what has already died. You feel the tension between the old and the new, between what was safe and what is eternal. But you can't live in both. You either live in control, or you live in the Spirit. And living in the Spirit is risking everything. It's not knowing what's ahead, but knowing who walks with you. It's accepting loss to gain what is eternal. It's being rejected by some to be known by God. The Spirit's presence won't make you more accepted in this world. It will make you more set apart. And that hurts. But in the middle of the pain comes peace. In the middle of the exposure comes healing. In the middle of the chaos comes the certainty that you're no longer alone. That's the mark of someone who's been transformed. It's not the absence of battles. It's the presence of peace in the midst of them. It's not the absence of tears. It's a comfort that doesn't come from human words. It's something that invades, fills, overflows. You don't have to hide anymore. You don't have to pretend anymore. The Holy Spirit wants everything. He wants your weariness, your silence, your past, your fear. He wants all of you, even if broken, because where there is surrender, there is rebuilding. And the Spirit is ready. You feel it. It's like something is burning inside, something that won't let you stay the same. And that's exactly it. You can't be the same anymore. Not after feeling this presence. Not after hearing this call. You might try to go back, but the Spirit has already planted something in you, and it will grow. It will move you. It will transform you. So, allow it. Don't postpone. Don't rationalize. Don't resist. Let the Spirit do what only He can do. The presence is here, not to touch you on the outside, but to turn you inside out, and to rebuild with glory everything that seemed lost. Write in the comments, God, I seek you, if you long to know more of His presence and power. You thought it was the end, but it was only the beginning, because the Spirit doesn't reveal Himself in comfort. He reveals Himself in the breaking, and you were broken, slowly, silently, to the point where you no longer recognized who you were. And maybe at that point you felt like you had lost everything, but the Spirit was there. In the middle of the pain, in the middle of the fear, in the middle of the nothing, you thought it was abandonment, but it was preparation. You thought it was punishment, but it was separation. Separation from everything that couldn't go with you into the new. Because the new requires a kind of emptiness, the kind only the Spirit can fill. And now here you are, with a tired heart, with teary eyes, with your body present, but your soul suspended. You're here because you still believe there must be more. Something human words can't explain. Something not dependent on effort. Something that comes from above. The Spirit doesn't come when everything is in place. He comes when you fall apart, when you let go, when you allow yourself to collapse and stop pretending. You tried to hold it all together, tried to hold with your hands what the Spirit wanted to carry, tried to control what could only be surrendered. But there is no transformation without loss. And you lost. You lost strength. You lost control. You lost what you thought sustained your faith. But this is where truth is born, because the Spirit doesn't move through fragile structures built by pride. He moves in ruins marked by surrender. You're no longer trying to earn anything. You're simply asking to be inhabited, and that is everything. It's the beginning of the new. The Spirit is here, waiting for a yes that needs no promises, a yes that doesn't try to negotiate, a yes with no turning back. Can you do that? Can you stop trying to look strong? Can you let Him see exactly who you are, with all the pain, the emptiness, the patterns? Because it's in that raw, uncovered place that the Spirit makes His home, not in pretty words, not in rehearsed gestures, but in the silent confession of someone who has nothing left to hide. You know, deep down, you've always known. You knew you couldn't keep going like this. You knew that something had to change. You knew the Spirit was calling you, even when everything was blurry, even when the sound was faint, even when you pretended not to hear. But now there's no more running. The presence is here. It searches, touches, breaks, and heals, all at once, all in silence, all in love. A love that doesn't demand performance, a love that doesn't expect perfection, a love that never gives up. And that love is available, not for those who deserve it, but for those who surrender. Do you want this? Do you want to stop running? To let go of the weight of having to look whole? Because the Spirit isn't waiting for your performance. He's waiting for your emptiness. And if you make room, He will come. He will come with weight. He will come with truth. He will come with fire. And nothing will remain the same. You feel it. Even if you can't explain it. You feel you're being drawn to a place there's no return from. The Spirit is doing that. He's pushing you deeper, deeper than you've ever been, deeper than you thought possible. But in that depth, there is freedom. Not the shallow kind that just makes you feel good for a moment, but the real freedom of someone touched from the inside. That's what transforms. Not just any touch, but the kind that makes you never want to live without Him again. You feel something in you already being remade. You feel the pain starting to dissolve. You feel the presence becoming more real than everything around you. And this is just the beginning. There will still be tears. There will still be silent nights. But now, You know you're no longer alone. The Spirit is with you. He dwells where there is surrender. He speaks where there is silence. He transforms where there is truth. And the truth is, you don't have to keep trying to be someone you were never called to be. You were made to carry glory, to live in true communion, to walk in presence. And that requires dying to everything that once felt normal, to everything that once seemed right, to everything you once called faith, but that never truly transformed you. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to live a life where the Spirit has full access? Because He doesn't just want to visit. He wants to dwell. He wants to fill every corner. He wants to restore memories. He wants to take you where your mind can't go, but where your spirit longs to be. And when you say yes, not just any yes, but a whole, complete yes, you'll see. What once was heavy becomes light. What once was confusion becomes direction. What once was shadow becomes light. The Holy Spirit does that. He doesn't just improve, He rebirths, He resurrects. And that's exactly what's happening right now. You're not just listening to a message, you're being visited. The question is, will you let Him stay? Because if you do, you'll never be the same again. Write in the comments, God is my victory. If you believe He always wins on your behalf, you'll never be the same again. Because once you've tasted the real presence, you can't go back to pretending. Once you've felt the Spirit's touch, noise is no longer enough. Once you've been transformed from the inside out, you can't return to the same empty places. His presence changes you. It breaks you down with love, rebuilds you with truth, wraps you in a peace you won't find anywhere else. You might try to resist. Try to keep up your routine. Surround yourself with distractions. But the Spirit doesn't leave the place where He was welcomed. He waits. And He calls. Again and again and again. Until you stop. Until you say without holding back, stay. Because this spiritual transformation doesn't happen in an instant. It happens when you decide to stop running. When you decide to stay. Even when everything inside you is screaming to run away. Stay. Even if you don't understand. Even if you don't feel it. Even if you can't see what's coming next. The Spirit knows what He's doing. He knows the depths of your soul. And He's reaching into places you didn't even know existed. You tried to fix the pain with words, tried to heal old wounds with explanations, tried to fill the emptiness with tasks, responsibilities, and distractions. But nothing worked. Because what you're feeling isn't ordinary need. It's spiritual hunger, hunger for truth, hunger for glory, and only one can satisfy it, the Holy Spirit. It's not a feeling. It's not a passing emotion. It's living presence. It's the manifestation of something not of this world. And when that touches you, everything changes. What once seemed important loses its value. What once felt urgent no longer makes sense. What once pressured you no longer holds power. Because when the Spirit enters, He takes over. And when He takes over, He reigns. And when He reigns, everything around you falls into place, including you. You may have come here in pieces, but the presence that's meeting you now can rebuild from the dust. No rush, no noise, no pressure, just presence, silence, weight, glory. You already feel it. You don't need an explanation. Your heart knows, and maybe you'll cry without knowing why. Maybe you'll feel something pulling you deeper, much deeper. This is the place where you stop performing, where you let go of control, where you simply exist in the presence. This is the place where transformation happens. Not by force, not by effort, but by presence. You don't need to try harder. You just need to surrender. Allow the Spirit to keep doing what He already began. Allow Him to go all the way, even if the journey is painful, even if there are nights when everything feels still. Believe this, nothing is still. The Spirit works in the silence. And what He's doing in you right now, it's not small. It's not temporary. It's eternal. You're being prepared to carry something beyond yourself, to live something that will mark those around you. But first, something has to die. Die to control. Die to expectations. Die to the old versions of yourself. There is no glory where there is still resistance. There is no fire where the altar is filled with pride. The Spirit wants a clean altar, a surrendered heart, a true offering. That's what He's waiting for. And you know, it's closer than ever. You've made it this far. You've been through so much, and still you didn't give up. Do you know why? Because something in you still hopes, still believes, still hears the call. And that call, it's from the Spirit, calling you deeper, calling you to a place where fear no longer exists, calling you to a life where He is everything. Will you go? Will you take that step? Will you allow Him to take it all? Will you let Him rebuild what was broken? Because now is the moment. Not later. Not when everything makes sense. Now. He is here, and He's waiting for just one answer. Yes. That's it. A full yes. A yes with no reservations. A yes that changes everything. Can you do that? Write in the comments, God, I exalt you. If your desire is to glorify His name above all else, can you say yes without knowing what comes next? Can you let go of the fears, the memories, the traumas that taught you to protect yourself, even from God? The Holy Spirit doesn't want just pieces. He doesn't want leftovers. He doesn't want what feels safe. He wants everything. He wants to enter the dark rooms no one sees. He wants to sit where you hide. He wants to dwell in the silences that suffocate you. And when you say yes, something invisible begins. Something that makes no sound but shakes everything within. Something that seems small but moves heaven. Because that yes is sacred. That yes is not just a word. It's a surrender. It's an altar. And the Spirit moves where there is an altar. You were prepared for this. Every pain, every loss, every emptiness brought you here. None of it was in vain. Nothing was wasted. Not even the nights when you thought about giving up. Not even the days when nothing made sense. The Spirit saw it all. And now, He comes with glory, with fire, with life. And when He comes in, nothing stays the same. The fear that held you falls. The sadness that silenced you melts. The guilt that accused you is washed away. You are being healed right now. Even if you can't see it, even if you can't feel it, healing began the moment you stopped fighting the Spirit. Deep transformation is not a stage experience. It's a secret process. It's a daily surrender. It's the yes that is renewed every morning. Even when you're tired, even in silence, even without guarantees. And you can do it. You can because you don't need strength. You need surrender. You need to stop holding on to what you should have already let go of. You need to trust that what the Spirit has for you is greater than anything you've lost. You feel it. You feel something has been torn inside, like an old part of you is being removed. That's exactly it. It's the old dying. It's the new being born. It's the Spirit doing what no one else could. He knows every space, every trauma, every prayer you never had the courage to say out loud. He heard, and He is answering, with presence, with glory, with transformation. This isn't about changing on the outside. It's about never being the same on the inside. The Holy Spirit is sealing something right now. Sealing with peace, sealing with rest, sealing with love. Love that doesn't demand, that doesn't measure, that simply stays. And if you allow Him, He will stay. He will dwell where there was once only chaos. He will turn the desert into an altar, the pain into a testimony, the silence into communion. You're not alone anymore. You'll never be the same again. And not because you became a better version of yourself, but because now you are full of the Spirit, full of a presence that never leaves, full of a fire that doesn't consume, but transforms. You can move forward, but you can't go back to where you came from, because where there is glory, the old can no longer remain. Now it's only the new, the unexplainable, the invisible, the eternal. You know it. Your heart knows. And the Spirit has already begun. Write in the comments, God is my refuge and strength, if you trust that He is your safety in times of trouble. Share this blessed video so it can touch and help others like it has helped you and me. Want to go even deeper in faith and prayer? Download our exclusive ebook on how to strengthen your spirituality in today's world. The link is in the comments below. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being part of our faith community. If you'd like to support our channel even more, consider becoming a member. Here are 2 more videos to help you continue your spiritual journey and grow in faith. Thank you, and may God bless you all. See you next time.